By now you've seen Donald Trump's post on Truth Social where he wrote, "If you go after me, I'm coming after you." Immediately after Trump posted that, Jack Smith and the DOJ requested a protective order that would prevent Trump from disseminating discovery materials to the public when they become available, and invoke Trump's post in that order, basically saying, this guy has no shame, he has no scruples. If he's going to issue a post promising retaliation a single day after the magistrate judge had him promise to comply with an agreement prohibiting retaliation or obstruction, then clearly he'll post discovery materials too. Judge Chutkan, the judge presiding over the election theft case in Washington, D.C., has asked Trump to respond to the special counsel's protective order request by 5 p.m. on Monday, meaning she's moving quickly. She isn't leaving weeks between decisions, she's leaving days. And of course, Trump's team has decided to backtrack, pretending that Trump's post saying, "If you go after me, I'm coming after you," was never about prosecutors, that it was merely a response to his primary opponents. His spokesman released a statement saying, quote, "The truth post cited is the definition of political speech, and it was in response to the rhino, China-loving, dishonest special interest groups and super PACs like the ones funded by the Koch brothers and the Club for No Growth." Is it true that Trump's threat was about his political opponents? Of course not. But he knows that he needs to walk back his threat because it bodes poorly for him in court. And so he's lying here by pretending that he just so happened to issue a blanket threat a single day after his arraignment to a primary field that frankly doesn't pose anything of a threat to him. The guy's ahead in his primary by over 30 points, but we're supposed to believe that suddenly Trump needs to announce that he's, quote, coming after his primary opponents? Give me a break. He may be content to play dumb, but I can guarantee you that Judge Chutkan isn't going to be fooled by these games. Now, in terms of Jack Smith's request, this isn't the most extreme version of what he could have done. He could have requested something of a gag order or even pretrial detention, considering the argument could be made that Trump violated the terms of his release. Here are those terms as quoted by the magistrate judge in his arraignment. "I want to remind you, it is a crime to intimidate a witness or retaliate against anyone for providing information about your case to the prosecution or otherwise obstruct justice. Do you understand these warnings, sir?" It's a crime to intimidate, retaliate, or obstruct justice, and what does Trump do? Issues a threat that he's going to go after anyone going after him. So the argument could be clearly made by Jack Smith that Trump violated the terms of his release. But instead, Jack Smith simply asked for Trump to be restricted from sharing discovery materials, which he likely would have done anyway, but by invoking Trump's post, he sent a message to Trump that he's watching and perfectly willing to use whatever Trump says or does against him in court. This one was a freebie. This time Trump's words won't result in any severe consequences, but he knows now that Jack Smith is watching and that he's perfectly willing to use Trump's words against him. Which, by the way, is a welcome change considering Trump's been issuing threats and thinly veiled calls to violence for months, especially as they relate to his court appearances. The difference here may very well be that this case is actually predicated on Trump's incitements to violence. And so if the prosecutor isn't willing to take on Trump's incitements in a case about incitements, then that might be perceived as weak. Jack Smith doesn't seem to have any intention to do that. It's worth noting too that this isn't just a shot across the bow by Jack Smith. By showing how quickly she's willing to move, Judge Chutkan is showing Trump that she's not going to do in this case what Judge Cannon is doing in Florida. She won't respond to his every move by granting him the lengthy delays that he's seeking. She's moving expeditiously and deliberately, meaning that if Trump wants to screw around and violate his orders, then the consequences will be swift. Trump might have gotten used to having a lackey judge who will do his bidding, but he's going to have to change his tune pretty quickly here. So we'll obviously see what Monday brings, but at a bare minimum, if Trump's excuse here for violating the terms of his release is a lie about his primary opponents, then he's off to a rocky start. And it's almost certain that Judge Chutkan will grant the DOJ its request, barring Trump from disseminating discovery materials. And when he inevitably shares those too, I have no doubt that the judge won't hesitate to ratchet up the consequences for him. Trump may think that the law doesn't apply to him, but he's about to learn pretty quickly that he is sorely mistaken. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to the channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way, and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.